So this video is basically a note to self. I'm just trying to create a better mental model for how the emulated encapsulation works in Angular. And what I want to demonstrate is that the encapsulation is based on component types, not on component instances. So for example here I have several different components, thing A, thing B, and thing C. And you can see that I essentially have a duplicate of each of these components. So I'm rendering each of them twice in the main app view. And then to make things more interesting, inside of thing B, I'm actually also rendering thing C. So if I just jump into the thing B here, you can see that thing B also outputs thing C. And if we jump over into the browser, what we see is that we now have two instances of A and B, and then four instances of C. Now, because the emulated encapsulation is based on component types, not instances, if we look at the head tag, what we can see is that we don't have 8 different style tags, one per component instance. What we actually have is 4 style tags, right? We have one, well, forget the app one for a second. Or I guess, yeah, we have one for the app, we have one for thing A, we have one for thing B, and one for thing C. And again, that's because the emulated encapsulation is based on component type, not on component instances. There are 4 component types in this application, even though we have 8 component instances, 9 I guess including the app component. And because of that as well, if we look at the actual markup that gets generated, what we can see is that the ng host and ng content attributes that are part of the emulated encapsulation, those only get calculated once per application lifecycle. So take something like component C, which we have in a bunch of places. We have here, but we also have it inside of the thing B, right? We can look at all of these. If we look at the thing C and we look at the host, thing C is always ng host -c3. It's here, it's here, right, -c3, it's here, -c3, and it's also here, -c3. And again, one more time, just driving home the point, that's because the emulated encapsulation attributes are calculated once per component type. We only have one thing C type in this application, despite the fact that we actually render it 4 times. So the ng host and ng content attributes are calculated once per that type, which is why we have the same attributes scattered throughout the active view, and then we only have one thing C style ever injected into the document head. So again, mostly a note to self here. I just wanted to build a mental model. For the most part, the emulated encapsulation in Angular just works, and you never have to think about it, which is why it feels so magical. I only ever had to think about it because I started to deal with recursively rendering components, in which case the selectivity of these selectors doesn't limit it to a particular element. It allows the styles to leak into nested elements because all of the attributes on the nested elements were the same because they were the same type. Again, it was recursive. So normally you wouldn't have to think about it. I have to think about it sometimes now, and just took it as an opportunity to build a better mental model for myself.